Hands slam his chest before he sees the face. Fingers snatch the badge and rip it free. The lanyard snaps. The box drops, hits gravel, and the crowd flinches. He tastes dust and stares at the torn badge swinging from the guard's grip. The truck idles beyond the gate, window cracked, red taillights washing the road. Policy's policy, the guard says, loud for the line. You're flagged high risk. You don't clear the gate. Policy looks like hunger, he says. It's got your breath. The foreman leans from the shack, clipboard under his arm. You can't afford mistakes. We can't afford you. He looks at the faces behind the turnstile, boots lifted, eyes lowered. He bends for the box. Here's a photo slide. A corner cuts his thumb. He wipes the blood on his jeans. I made quota, he says. I made it sick. The guard shrugs. You missed housing. You didn't buy safety credits. Numbers don't care. People do, he says. They do when they're paid to. The foreman answers. You aren't. Mara steps out of line before anyone can stop her. She grips his elbow, steadies the box. You don't beg, she says. I don't, he answers, trying to pull the box free so she won't get marked beside him. The window lowers another inch. He sees a cuff and a ring. The mill sign over the gate carries the family name, iron letters bolted to rust. He studies the curve of it. The guard jabs his chest. Back off the property. Pay me what you owe, and I'll move. We owe you a lesson, the guard says. You learned it. Walk. Write me up clean, he says. No theft. No violence. You think paper is for you. The foreman laughs. Paper is for owners. He opens the box. Lunch pail. A spare glove burned at the palm. A white envelope stamped final notice. He palms the letter, folds it once, and slides it flat inside his jacket. Mara says, I can talk to the safety man. There is no safety man, he says. Only a counter with hands. You cut your hand last week. The guard snaps. You bleed on belts. You buy a new belt. Company policy. It was your belt, he says. It was my blood. Enough. The foreman checks his watch. You're blocking throughput. The bell shrieks. Workers shuffle. The turnstile clicks. Steel moans awake. He steps aside so nobody gets docked for looking at him. Mara meets his eyes. Say it before you go. He breathes out slow. I'll be back. Not like that, she says. Say it true. He turns to the gate, to the iron letters, to the truck watching. I'll buy your name, he whispers, quiet as a promise he doesn't believe. The foreman snorts. You'll buy a bus ticket. He walks. Gravel shifts under his boots. The guard keeps close enough to make it feel like a chase. You can't stand on the road shoulder, the guard says. I can stand where the county starts, he answers. County starts where we, say the guard says. Then sue me, he says, and doesn't look back, because looking back makes you small. He keeps the box tight till he clears the painted line at the edge of the lot. The guard stops and taps the sign that says trespassers will be prosecuted. Consider yourself prosecuted already, the guard says. Consider yourself recorded. Mara calls from the turnstile, her phone down by her thigh, camera open. The foreman barks her name. Put that away, or don't clock in. She pockets it but never drops her gaze. Clock this, she mutters. Low enough only he hears. He shifts the box. The photo slides again. He catches it. His mother stands by a well with a scarf over her hair, one hand on the stone, one hand on him as a boy. He slips the picture into the envelope with the final notice and smooths the crease. He thinks of the kitchen he can't pay for, and the roof that mutters at night. He thinks of the sheriff who drinks at the family table and calls it law. Last chance to leave quiet, the guard says. Quiet is for graves, he says. The engine revs. A man's voice says, let him go. It's good for morale. Heat climbs his neck. He wants to throw the box at the glass, but the photo is inside, and he needs his hands later. He steps into the road and faces the idle truck. Red paint the cardboard, turning grease to fresh wounds. Move your toy, he says. The truck doesn't move. Mara appears at the fence, fingers curled through the wire. Where will you go? Where the ink lives, he says. You don't own ink, she says. I will, he answers. I'll turn their numbers into reins. Come back for me when it's done, she says. I'll come back for everyone, he says. Start by coming back alive, she says. He nods. He looks once at the iron name, lets it weigh him, then lays it down in his mind like a map. He steps forward. The guard points and shouts. The foreman laughs into his clipboard. The truck idles behind him, red taillights bathing his box, and he walks until the mill's noise thins and the road carries him out and forward. The room is thick with smoke and wet wood. A single bulb sways above the card table. Whiskey bottles line the wall, cheap and flat, the labels peeling. He sits steady, jacket folded over the chair, sleeves rolled to his elbows. His hands don't shake as he sets down a pair of kings. Coins and crumpled bills slide toward him. The men around the table mutter curses and reach for their glasses. Mara leans against the doorframe, arms crossed. Her eyes burn through the haze. You lost your job for being poor. He gathers the money without looking at her. Then I'll be expensive. She steps closer, voice low. That place chews men for less. You're not ready for what comes next. He lifts his gaze finally. What comes next is mine. The cardman across the table smirks. His hands are ringed, and his shirt hangs open at the collar. You play like you're either hungry or suicidal. Which is it? Both, he says, sliding another stack forward. Careful, the man warns. Some pots don't cash out clean, some debts don't either, he says. The dealer flips the cards. He wins again. Money scrapes across the table. The card. Man leans in. You want an introduction or a funeral? Whichever buys the mill, he says. The room goes quiet. Mara straightens. You don't say that name in here. I just did, he says. The cardman chuckles, but it doesn't. Reaches eyes. The mill isn't sold with cash. It's sold with blood. You got any to spare? He pulls a photo from his pocket, sets it face up on the table. His mother stands by the well, scarf tied, hand on stone, hand on a boy's shoulder. The edges are cracked from years of folding. This land owes a debt, he says. I'm collecting. The cardman studies the photo. You want in with people who don't know mercy, only margin. They don't care about your well. They will, he says. Mara grabs his arm. You think they'll make you rich? They'll eat you. Every bite. Better eaten than invisible, he says. The dealer deals again. Cards slap wood. The cardman whispers, I'll give you a number. You call? You don't use my name. You mention the mill. They'll listen. Why? He asks. Because they smell death on it, the man says. Distressed assets. They like bones better than meat. Mara shakes her head. Don't take it. He pockets the slip of paper. I already did. The cardman drains his glass. If you go through with this, don't come back here. Win or lose, you'll be marked. I'm already marked, he says. Mara's voice is sharp. You're marked poor. That's not the same as marked prey. He looks at her, steady. It will be. The room folds into silence again. The bulb flickers. Coins clink as the dealer rakes the table. His pocket buzzes. He pulls out the phone. Cheap screen cracked. A voice comes through, smooth and cold. Fly east tomorrow, 10 o'clock. We'll talk contracts. I don't fly, he says. I ride. The voice pauses, then replies, just get here. The line dies. The bulb sways. Mara stares at him like he's already lost. He slips the photo back into his jacket, gathers the money, and stands. The room exhales with him gone. The echo of cards and smoke left behind. The office smells like glass and polish. The city outside hums behind a pane that doesn't open. He lays his cheap coat across the back of a chair that costs more than a month's wages at the mill. His boots leave grit on the floor. He doesn't brush it off. The fund representative slides a folder across the table. Terms, she says. He flips the cover. Words stack like traps. Covenant ratios, liens, phantom equity. He reads slow but steady, lips tightening. The rep studies him. Why this mill? He doesn't blink. Because it killed my father slow. She leans back. Plenty of mills do that. This one did it with a smile, he says. Her pen taps. Glass, you'll be their boss, but you'll be ours. He nods once. I'll pretend not to notice. Good, she says. Pretending is profitable. He points at a clause buried deep. This line strip it. Her brows rise. Why? Because it leashes management to your desk. I need autonomy at site level. You'll still report quarterly. Fine. But day to day, they answer to me. She studies him, then crosses it out. You won't last long in their world. I don't plan to last, he says. I plan to burn. The folder opens wider. She names figures. He answers without flinching. Numbers pile like stones. Debt is carved into leverage. Leverage into a note. The note into his hand. Sin, she says. He looks at the pen. She slides forward. Sleek, heavy, not his. He takes it anyway, presses the page. His name scratches across lines that chain him in one world and crown him in another. The rep smiles thin. Congratulations. You just bought yourself a cage made of paper. He closes the folder. Better paper than chains. She stands. Our drivers will take you to the airport. You fly east tomorrow, 10 o'clock. He shakes his head. I don't fly. I ride. Her smile sharpens. Just get there. He rises, folding the cheap coat over his arm. The pen lingers in his palm. He pockets it before she notices. The glass shows him back. Grit on boots, ash on jacket, ink fresh on paper. On the plane, clouds crawl beneath him. He stares at the reflection in the window. His face hard, his eyes older. The desert creeps back below, waiting. He steps off the bus before the sun climbs. The town is colorless and early. He carries a folder that weighs more than steel, and a coat that still smells like card smoke and glass offices. His boots find the same road that took him away. He doesn't slow. The mill rises out of the pale, like a machine that learned to breathe. The gate light blinks green. The guard in the shack stirs, sees him, and scowls, as if the past owes interest. Badge, the guard says. I brought the whole box, he answers. The guard leans out. You don't work here. He steps to the window and lays the folder down. I don't. I own the shift. The guard barks a laugh. You own a mouth. Read, he says. The man flips the cover, eyes dragging over signatures and seals. His lips move. He looks up, puzzled, then hard. Where'd you steal this? From a future that was already mine. The guard tries another angle. Policy says verification. Policy says the gate opens when the controlling note holder says so. Who taught you those words? The people who eat mills for breakfast. A truck rolls from the dark and stops behind him, idling. Same black paint. Same windows smoked. He can feel the stare from inside. He doesn't turn. He taps the glass with 2 fingers. Open. Wait, the guard says. He reaches for the phone. I call the foreman. Call your king if it makes you feel safe. The line crackles. He hears the foreman's voice turn from sleep to anger. The guard says his name, the word paper, and owner. Ache. Pause so long it tastes like snow. The foreman growls. Hold him. He slides a second page under the window. Management autonomy at site level. Your hold is cancelled. Who told you to talk like that? You did when you ripped my badge and taught me ink. Footsteps gather behind the chain link. Workers drift in, heads low against cold. Mara is among them, hood down, eyes on his hands. He glances at her and says nothing because saying anything now would splinter the moment. The guard hangs up hard, then looks at the truck, then at the mob of mourning, then at the papers again, as if they might melt. Gate stays shut until I see the family, he declares. You're seeing the debt instead. The truck door opens. The heir steps out in a coat that looks soft and mean. He doesn't smile yet. He studies the scene like a butcher assessing weight. You came back fast, he says. I had help from your predators. You think you're safe because some fund wrote your name beside theirs. I think I can count. The heir tilts his head. What do you want? To start the day. The guard finds his backbone. He doesn't have a badge. He doesn't need one, the heir says mildly, eyes still on him. If his papers sing. He holds out a hand, and the folder passes from guard to heir. The heir scans pupils. Shrinking, he whistles soft. You bought the gun, we pointed at ourselves. I'll aim it. Careful, the heir says. It kicks. I've been kicked. Mara edges closer to the fence. Say it, she whispers. He hears it, like a hand on the back. He lifts his chin and speaks so the line can hear. I own this shift. A murmur runs through the workers. The heir glances at the truck, then at the cameras in the shack. You play well for someone who smelled like dust last week. I still do. You're still poor, just with prettier chains. I choose where this chain drags. The heir's smile arrives, small and dangerous. Open the gate for our new friend, he tells the guard. Let's see if he can swim in our river. The guard hesitates. He hears the click of a remote from the heir's pocket. The green light turns solid, and the turnstile unlocks with a clank. He doesn't move yet. He looks to Mara. She steps out of line. What are you going to do with that paper? Make it breathe, he says. Make it protect, she says. That too. The gate yawns. He walks forward. The guard steps aside, angry and wary. As he passes, the guard mutters, Policies, policy. Mine too, he says. Inside the yard, the mill hums like a held breath. The foreman storms out of the office, hair askew, eyes bright with fight. You think paper makes you king. It makes me custodian. Of what? The foreman sneers. Of a place that forgot people. People forget themselves, the foreman says. We remind them with rules. You remind them with hunger. Same thing. Mara arrives at his shoulder. You need to say more than I own it. He nods. I will. I'm starting with hours, pay, and locks. You'll bankrupt us by noon, the foreman says. You bankrupted them already. The heir strolls in, hands in his pockets. Speech later. Work now. Fine, he says. Work starts with unlocking the first aid cage, the boots closet, and the office where you keep the brand on. A nail. The foreman stiffens. There is no brand. Then you won't miss it when it's gone. The heir watches, amused. You'll make enemies fast. They were enemies already. He faces the line. Clock in. No one moves. They have been punished for moving wrong before. His voice softens. You still have to eat. I didn't come back to stop your bread. I came back to stop your bleeding. A hand moves. Then another. The line stirs. He catches Mara's eye. She nods once. The heir leans close. You're brave at the start. Let's see how you do at the end. Stay long enough to learn, he says. The siren wails the start of day. It sounds the same, but the air feels different, like a door unlocked an inch. For once today, the office smells of dust and stale ink. He sits at the long table, coat folded, the papers spread in front of him like a body waiting to be examined. The accountant wipes sweat from his lip, though the room is cold. The foreman leans in the doorway, arms crossed, grin ready to strike. He flips the first ledger open. Numbers scroll, crooked, column smudged. He points at the gaps. Missing pay. The accountant shifts in his chair. We call it adjustment. He looks up, eyes flat. Adjustment to what? To reality, the accountant mutters. He taps the column. Reality is men walking home hungry. The foreman pushes off the wall. We call it waste. His voice sharpens. You mean lives? The foreman's grin widens. Same thing. He pushes the ledger aside and drags the next forward. Overtime cuts. You dock every hour past the bell. The accountant clears his throat. We round down hours. He slams the book shut. Round. Up dignity. The accountant looks at the foreman. The foreman shrugs. Policies, policy. You signed the note, boss. You inherit it. I rewrite it, he says. The foreman laughs. Ink won't save you from steel. He stands, crosses to the filing cabinets against the wall. He yanks drawers, folders spilling. Injury reports lie folded, the ink blurred from sweat or blood. Names are missing. These men lost fingers. Where's the record? The accountant stammers. They signed release forms. Or you forged them, he says. The foreman steps closer. No one forced you to open that drawer. He turns, heat in his voice. Every drawer is mine now. The foreman smiles thin. Some stay locked. He scans the room. A door sits. At the back iron handle, padlock rusted but strong. He walks to it. What's in here? The foreman's grin turns sharp. Storage. He rattles the lock. Open it. Don't have a key. The foreman lies. He kicks the door once. Dust falls. Then, find one. The foreman folds his arms again. You don't want what's behind there. He steps close. Unlock it. The foreman leans forward, whispering with teeth showing. No. The silence after feels like a held scream. He pulls back, fists tight, but he doesn't swing. Not yet. He turns instead to the desk, shoving through piles. A stack of envelopes spills. One slides free, heavier than the rest. Black wax seals the flap. He picks it up. The foreman stiffens. The accountant looks at the floor. He weighs the envelope in his hand. What's this? No concern of yours, the foreman says. He studies the wax. It isn't cracked. He flips it over. A name scrawled across in ink. Mara. He looks up. You were going to bury her. She buried herself, the foreman answers. He pockets the letter. The foreman steps forward, but he raises his burned hand, and the man stops short. You'll regret opening closets, the foreman says. He walks to the door, folder under his arm, the sealed letter heavy in his coat. In the hall, Mara waits. She sees his hand slide into his pocket. Her eyes lock on the bulge of the envelope. She stiffens, her breath shallow, as if she already knows what it says. The floor creaks as he steps back into the main office. Mara is waiting near the window, arms folded, eyes sharp. He doesn't speak at first. He pulls the black sealed envelope from his coat and sets it on the desk between them. The wax catches the dim light. Her shoulders tense. Where did you find that? Behind locks, he says. With injury reports and missing pay. She doesn't move. He cracks the seal with his thumb. The flap tears. Inside is a typed page. Neat lines like a verdict already written. He reads once, slow, then again faster, as the weight builds. He lifts his eyes. This paper ruins you. Her breath shakes. It saved them. He slams it flat on the desk. It calls you a thief. Says you skimmed time, stole wages, forged signatures. Mara steps forward, voice low. I added hours. Not for me, for my sister's kids. They were hungry. That makes it true, he snaps. That makes it mercy, she fires back. He paces fists tight. They planted this letter to crush you. To show me what happens when I shield you. Then let it crush me, she says. I won't hide what I did. He looks at her hard. I can't be weak. Try being human, she says, softer now. Silence pulls between them, long and heavy. The foreman's laughter echoes faint from the hallway, as if he knows the choice waiting. He turns to the wall camera, its red light glowing. He lifts the letter high. This is your proof. He asks no one. This is your law. His voice cuts through the room. Mara's eyes widen. He rips the paper down the middle. The sound is sharp. He rips again, quarters falling to the floor. He holds the scraps out, then lets them drop. You don't own her, he says to the camera. Not anymore. Mara exhales hard, shaking. You just signed your own death. Better mine than yours, he answers. She stares at him, eyes wet, but doesn't speak. The foreman storms in, face red, gaze on the torn paper. You'll pay for that, he growls. He steps closer, voice steady. Put it on the ledger. See if I care. The foreman's grin twists. It won't be me. It'll be blood you can't wash. The sound of an engine rolls into the yard. All three turn to the window. The black truck slides to a stop at the gate, tires crunching gravel. The door opens slow, deliberate. The old family son steps down, coat long, smile sharp like a hook. His eyes find the office window. He tips his hat out the air, walks into the office like he owns the walls. The foreman slinks back, pretending he belongs but shrinking at the edges. Mara stands stiff, eyes on the floor, as the air drops into the chair across from him. Boots polished, coat sharp, smile thin. You came back rich. Good dog, the air says. He doesn't blink. I don't fetch. The air tilts his head. Everyone fetches. He leans forward, then choke on the stick. The foreman barks a laugh, but goes silent when the air raises a hand. Papers slide from a leather folder onto the desk. Past due deeds, the air says. Worker housing. Each slip a throat in my pocket. You want to play boss, fine. But play pet too. Sign here. Restore order, and I'll let you keep your little throne. He doesn't touch the papers. Order. The air's smile grows. Rent paid on time, men working their shifts, wives not asking questions. Quiet streets, you get to strut, we get to own. Mara lifts her head, voice sharp. Quiet, means starving children. The air waves her off. Stay in your lane, girl. He rises from his chair. That's her lane. That's all their lanes. You built fences out of rent and called it order. I call it theft. The air chuckles. Big words for someone still, smelling of gravel. Big enough, he says. The air pushes the folder closer. Here's your leash. Grab it. Or, I remind this town that debt is older than you. He places his hand on the folder, not to take it, but to weigh it. He feels the cold through the leather. Then he lifts it, walks to the torch barrel in the corner. He sets the folder on the rim. Mara's breath catches. The air rises, voice sharp. Don't. He doesn't hesitate. He lights the edge with the barrel flame. Paper curls, ink turns black, ash lifts. The foreman curses. Mara stares, wide-eyed. The air's smile dies. You just erased their rent, he says. No, he answers. I erased your leash. Ash drifts upward, light as winter birds, carrying smoke through the rafters. The storm hasn't reached yet, but the sky has gone iron. The mill yard is restless, workers glancing up as the air thickens. The whistle hasn't blown, but boots shuffle like something's already wrong. He steps out of the office with Mara at his shoulder, both of them carrying the smell of burned paper. That's when the sheriff rides up in his polished truck, tires crunching gravel like bones. The door slams. The badge shines dull against his chest, the same family crest pressed into its center. He walks with the weight of someone who knows. People move aside. The deputies stay in the cab, watching. That man ain't family, the sheriff says, pointing at him. He doesn't flinch. He's payroll. The sheriff's lip curls. Payroll don't make kin. Kin doesn't make law, he answers. The sheriff steps closer, boots sinking in the dirt. Law bites. Mara crosses her arms. Only when you whistle. The sheriff turns his glare on her. Watch yourself, girl. She doesn't blink. I've been watched my whole life. Your badge is just a leash they let you wear. The sheriff's jaw tightens. He pulls a folder from his coat and waves it like a flag. Safety codes. Violations stacked to the roof. Broken harnesses. Missing guards on belts. I could shut this place today. You didn't care last year, he says. I care now, the sheriff says, because you're here. The foreman lingers at the gate, smirking. The sheriff doesn't even glance at him. The paper matters more than truth. The sheriff thrusts the folder forward. Sign these fines, or I put you in cuffs for negligence. He flips the top page. The numbers bleed down the sheet, enough to drown a payroll. He pulls out a pen, his pen, stolen from the glass office far away. He scrawls his name, then writes beneath it, in block letters, paid in full. He rips the page free, folds it once, and staples it to the sheriff's sleeve. The metal bite echoes. Sharp, the sheriff jerks his arm back, staring at the paper now stuck to him. You think this is a joke? It's a receipt, he says. Mara smirks. Looks good on you. The workers laugh, quick and nervous. The sheriff's face burns red. You're playing a game you can't win. I'm not playing, he says. The sheriff rips the page free, crumples it, and throws it in the dirt. Next time it's your hide. Then bring more staples, he says. The sheriff points at him, finger trembling with rage. Storm's coming. When it breaks, I'll be back, and you'll wish you begged. The wind picks up, as if on cue. Dark clouds crawl fast over the horizon. The workers lift their heads. The siren splits the air. Emergency stop. Machines grind down. Belts screech. The yard fills with silence and storm dash breath. The storm breaks with a crack. Lightning flashes. Over the mill, the sky white for a breath. The machines roar louder, belts snapping with static. He's in the yard when the first lights blink, then die. The hum drops. A single groan from inside the floor rises like something alive. Darkness swallows the line. Help! A voice screams from the floor. He runs, boots sliding on oil. The machines still churn from momentum. He climbs the platform and sees a worker's arm caught in a rolling belt, blood slick across the rubber. The man thrashes, eyes wide. Kill the feed, he shouts. Mara is already at the panel, hands flying, sparks spit, nothing stops. It's dead already. Then pull, he roars. She yanks the lever until her knuckles bleed. The belts don't stop. He throws himself forward, grabs the edge of the machine. The heat licks his skin. He wedges his hand into the gears, tries to pry them loose. Flesh sears. The smell rises: burned meat, oil, fear. The same smell that filled the air the night his father never came home. The worker screams, I can't move. Yes, you can, he snarls. He pushes deeper, skin peeling as the belt loosens. His hand feels like fire chewing bone. He yanks once, hard, and the arm comes free. Both of them collapse backward. Flashlights flicker around them, beams jumping. Through smoke, the generator coughs, then dies. Panic spreads. Shadows leap. Men shouting over each other. Shut up, he yells. Stay together. The worker cradles his arm, sobbing. Mara presses cloth to the wound. Her eyes cut to him, to the black burns on his palm. You're bleeding too. He shakes his head. I'm fine. But the pain claws deeper, same as before. The floor rattles. The storm outside howls through the gaps in the roof. For a moment, only chaos breathes. Then the lights surge back with a blinding stab. Belts groan, gears shriek, machines stutter alive again. On the catwalk above, a voice rolls like thunder. Trial time. Every head turns upward. The air stands. Above them, coat sharp, grin wide. His hands rest on the rail, as if he owns the dark and the light both. The floor of the mill is a courtroom now. Machines growl low, lights buzzing red in warning cycles, the storm rattling iron sheets overhead. Workers press against the walls, eyes darting, some still holding wrenches, some holding nothing but fear. The heir stands on the catwalk, looking down like a preacher with no God but himself. The sheriff walks in from the yard, badge dull, revolver at his hip. The foreman slinks at his side, papers clutched like weapons sharper than steel. The heir spreads his arms. Trial time. His voice carries, slick, as if the storm itself answers him. He steps forward, burned hand wrapped in cloth, body braced. Mara stays near, her gaze cutting sharp through the smoke. The sheriff points at him. Sabotage, theft, you shut the power. Nearly killed a man. The foreman waves papers. Ledger proves it. Hours altered. Safety stripped. He's no boss, he's a liar, wearing our ink. Murmurs spread through the workers. The heir silences them with a look. Bloodline decides. He lifts his head, voice steady. Not tonight. The heir leans on the rail. Always tonight, always yesterday, always tomorrow. Your name's not carved here, theirs are. Carving doesn't make truth, he says. The sheriff steps closer, hand on his gun. You'll sign, or you'll bleed. Mara steps forward fast, planting herself between gun and crowd. Right with your own blood. Gasps ripple through the floor. The sheriff stiffens, hand twitching. The heir smirks. Loyal dog, you'll get whipped for that. No, Mara snaps, not this time. The foreman slams the papers onto a crate. Here it is. Document of dismissal, proof of fraud, record of sabotage. Sign, and maybe we let you crawl out. He doesn't move. He walks past the crate toward the locked door at the back, the one he rattled before. The sheriff blocks him. You think you can run, not run, he says. Prove. He throws the lock with a crowbar. The door slams open. Inside, a single nail shines under a weak bulb. Hanging from it, black with soot, is the family brand. The heir's voice drips from above. Bring it out. The foreman obeys, carrying the iron like it weighs more than a man. He sets it on the crate beside the papers. Workers flinch, as if it still smokes. The heir smiles. This is what marks you. Cattle, men, property. This is law. He steps forward. His burned hand trembles. Mara's eyes widened. Don't, she whispers. He peels the cloth away, palm raw and ruined. He lifts the iron brand. It's cold, but carries the memory of fire. He sets his hand against it, pressing hard. Flesh hisses, smoke rising. His teeth grit, but he doesn't scream. He holds it until the air reeks of pain, then he drops it. His voice cuts through the silence. Now it means nothing. The floor erupts. Workers shout, some in fear, some in rage. The sheriff draws his revolver. Mara throws her arms wide, blocking his shot. The air laughs from above, cruel and bright. Alarm. Lights spin across the floor, red slicing through smoke. Somewhere in the loft, a spark catches dust. Someone yells, fire. The spark finds the loft quick. Dust turns flame faster than breath. The rafters roar, orange bleeding into black. Workers scream as smoke pours down, thick and choking. He shouts above the panic, voice breaking but firm. Out, everyone out. Men and women scramble for the doors. He points them through, one by one, shoving shoulders, steadying arms. Mara drags two boys by their collars, pushing them into the yard. The foreman bolts the other way, chasing shadow instead of safety. The sheriff lifts his revolver, eyes wild in the red haze. Stop him. He's burning it all. The heir's voice cuts sharp from the catwalk. Kneel. He stands in the middle of smoke, ash streaking his coat. Stand. The sheriff jerks his gun toward the crowd. Shoot. Mara steps in, chest out, eyes fierce. Try me. Flames lick the walls. Hungry, he runs to the office door, the one holding the cash box and ledgers. He slams it shut, throws the lock. Mara stares through the smoke. Why lock it? Because money's bait, he says. Let it burn. A beam cracks above, timbers splitting with fire. The sheriff wheels to look up too late. The weight crashes down, crushing him in splinters and flame. His scream chokes, then cuts off. The air snarls from above, eyes bright with fury and fear. This isn't yours to save. This place is blood, not paper, he shouts back, voice raw. Blood already soaked it. I'll clear it with fire. The air fires once, bullets sparking off steel. He ducks, smoke stinging his lungs. Mara pulls him by the arm. Leave it. The workers are clear, but he shakes her off, staring at the catwalk where the air stands, framed in flame. Not yet. The air glares down, coat smoldering at the hem. You'll die with it. Better me than them, he says. Another beam crashes. The air bolts for the back stairs, running through smoke. He follows but loses sight as the roof buckles. Heat slams the air, forcing him back. Mara grabs his burned hand, dragging him toward the door. The last of the workers spill into the yard, coughing, clutching one another. He stumbles through, the fire behind him roaring like a monster freed. Outside, night meets chaos. Sirens wail from town, faint and slow. The building crackles, windows exploding, flames climbing into the sky. The sheriff lies buried in burning wood. The air vanished in smoke. Snow begins to fall, light at first, then heavier. Flakes drift into ash, white and gray mixing as if the storm itself can't decide which to keep. Dawn edges over smoke and ruin ash, frost's boots, and the bent fence. The mill is a black rib cage, steaming in the cold. He stands with Mara as workers gather, faces gray with night and fear. No sirens now, only the pop of embers and the shuffle of feet. His burned hand throbs with every breath. The sheriff is dead, someone says. He is, he answers. And the air? Another asks. Gone, Mara says. Smoke took him, or road did. He climbs onto a crate, the fire spared, and holds up ledgers, covers blistered. Come close, he says. We're done whispering. They form a crooked half-circle. Some cross themselves. Some hold one another's shoulders. He opens the first book. Lines run like scars, columns that always meant hunger. The foreman stands at the edge, soot to his elbows, eyes skittish. He looks smaller without walls. He lifts his voice. Here is your work. Here is their take. Here is what they called order. Mara says, call it what it was. Theft, he says. And it stops now. He flips to the back. A thick column sits under debts to company. He runs a finger down names. The yard holds a breath that's waited years. He takes a brush, dips. It then pauses. You are free, men and women. Housing deeds transfer today. Murmurs roll. A woman covers her mouth. A man cries once, raw and short. A worker steps forward. What about you? He looks up. I answer to you now. The foreman laughs, cracked and mean. You'll drown in their need. I already did, he says. Now I swim with them. Mara nods. Start writing. He drags the brush across the page. Thick black slashes eat the column. Paid, he says. Paid, paid. People echo it back. The yard warms with sound. He passes the book to Mara. She keeps crossing names out until the page is a storm of ink. He opens another ledger, then another. The stack of erased weight grows. An old man lifts his cap. My wife died owing that column. She doesn't now, he says. A boy points at the office door warped with heat. The cash box locked, he says. Let it sit. The foreman finds his voice. You can't erase what's owed. Contracts don't burn. Paper burns, Mara says. He takes a ring of keys off his belt, goes to a metal crate, and opens it. Inside, salvaged deed folders sit in a tangle of twine. He carries them back, lays them on the crate. Names, he says. Call them. A woman speaks. Reese. He finds Reese, signs with his burned hand. Blood dots the paper, dark as wax. He presses his palm to the corner. Yours. Another voice. Tomas. Yours. They come in. A line that has no pride, only need. He signs deeds with his burned hand. Ink mixes with blood. Mara slides a rag under his wrist. Hold steady, she says. We're almost through. You're bleeding on law, the foreman says. Good, he says. Let it remember us. A teen girl steps up, hat too big. They said I wasn't old enough to sign. You worked nights, he says. You're old enough. She swallows, then write it. She hugs the deed tight. A man from the far shift hovers. We were told you'd sell us next. Fund wants profit. He meets the man's eyes. Fund wants returns. I want breath. Today I win. What about tomorrow? Then we fight again, he says. But today you go home without a bill on your door. The crowd loosens. Laughter slips out. Someone drags a dented coffee urn and sets it on a barrel. People drink, pass the same tin cup. The foreman hangs back, lip curled. You'll run dry by noon. Then we learn water, he says. Mara turns to the workers. Who can fix a roof? Who knows the belts? Who can count better than the last man? Hands rise. She names and assigns. A woman brings a bundle. For your hand, inside is cloth, a small bottle, a square of salve. He nods. Thank you. A boy slips from the crowd, the guard's child, hair singed. My daddy's gone, he says. He crouches, despite the pain. I know. Where do we go now? Home, he says. Where the rent is yours. We don't have one, the boy whispers. He looks at Mara. She's already moving, hand on the boy's shoulder. We'll make room, she says. Today, the line thins. Deeds pass from his hand to theirs, until the crate is almost empty. He signs the last one, and leans on the crate. Mara steadies him. Sit, she says. I can't, he answers. Not yet. A truck engine coughs beyond the gate. Heads turn. The sound dies. He keeps his eyes on the yard. 2 more ledgers. Mara lowers her voice. We can finish inside. There is no inside, he says. There's only here. The foreman finally steps forward, hands raised. You'll need me, he says. I know where everything is buried. He studies him. You're good at burying. I'm good at building too, the foreman says. Prove it, he says. Earn a wage, like anyone else. No keys, no locks, no side money. The foreman winces. Fine, he mutters. For now, he returns to the ledgers. Ash skitters across the yard. The sky is pale. He writes paid again and again until the words blur and steady. Mara squeezes his shoulder. They're watching you, I know. They believe you. He looks at the crowd, their faces, their hands, the way they hold each other like the ground might finally be theirs. Then I'll keep deserving it, he says. Someone starts a song about surviving winter. Others join, unsure, but willing. He signs through it, the beat giving his hand a rhythm even pain can't break. He lifts the brush one last time and draws a line across the title itself. A cut through the word debts until only blank paper stares back. Mara breathes out, shaky but smiling, and the crowd echoes it. A long tired exhale that sounds like morning finally choosing them, for the first time. When the last page is struck through, he closes the ledger and lets his arm fall. The yard smells of wet ash and coffee. A child tugs his coat. Is it really over? No, he says. But this part is. He looks toward the gate at last. A black truck rolls to a stop. No driver behind the wheel. The door hangs open, wide to the morning. The courthouse is small, brick faded to dust. flag drooping in the wind. He walks up the steps with Mara beside him, her coat patched, her chin set. The workers crowd behind, boots loud on stone. They fill the hall, standing shoulder to shoulder, watching him push through the doors. The clerk sits at a desk, too big for the room. His spectacles slip down his nose. He looks at the stack of folders they drop in front of him, ash still clinging to the covers. He coughs once, wary. "You sure?" the clerk asks. He nods. "I'm done being owned." The clerk flips through, frowning. Family name has weight. Erasing it invites trouble. Mara steps forward. Weight crushes. "Write something we can. Say without fear." The clerk studies her, then shrugs. "What name?" Silence hangs. Workers shift, muttering. Some suggest old words, others whisper nothing at all. Mara looks at him, her voice steady. Common. The room stills. The word feels plain, but it breathes. Heads nod, slow and certain. He sets his burned hand on the desk, scar tissue white against ink stains. Common. The clerk dips his pen, then we file. Once I stamp, it's done. The air's shadow lingers in the silence. The sheriff's ghost hums at the edge of memory. Still, he signs. His hand shakes, but he presses through. The page holds his name, and theirs. His breath hitches when he lifts the pen. He hasn't felt that raw since the mill gate. Mara grips his arm, steady. The clerk lifts the seal, slams it down. The stamp hits hard. Ink bleeds through. The old family name is gone. Workers exhale as one. The sound fills the hall. Outside, ladders scrape stone. Men climb and wrench letters from the mill sign. Each bolt groans. The iron name crashes to the dirt, bending. Children run forward, touching it with sticks, laughing like it's just scrap. He steps into the yard with Mara. Ash drifts down, light as snow. The workers gather close. A child of a laid-off guard pulls his sleeve. Who's the boss now? He kneels, face lined but soft. He smiles without teeth. You are. The crowd swells with a murmur that feels like prayer, not to gods, but to themselves. The yard is different now. No guards at the gate. No truck idling with dark windows. No foreman with a grin sharp enough to cut. The air hums steady, with machines that sound more like work than chains. Ash has settled into the mud, washed into quiet streaks by thin rain. Night folds in, clean calm, with only the glow of lamps along the walls. He stands where the gate used to bite, where hands once slammed his chest and stripped him of a badge. His coat is heavier now, not from pockets, but from weight carried and laid down again. He listens to the hum, then to the silence between the hums. It feels like something no family, no sheriff, no heir ever allowed before. Workers filter out, in twos and threes. They don't look down anymore. They talk, laugh, argue. Some carry deeds tucked into their coats. Others carry nothing but the promise of sleep without a landlord pounding at their door. Children run across the lot, chasing one another with shouts that bounce against the corrugated walls. Mara comes from the office, hair tied back, ledger under her arm. She stops beside him, watching the children, listening to the hum. You bought the name? He shakes his head, voice low. We bought it back. She tilts her chin, and the cost. He doesn't look at her right away. His burned hand flexes once. We pay it together. She exhales slow, almost smiling. Better than paying it alone. They stand in silence, the kind that isn't heavy but full. Workers slip away down the road. Lanterns in their hands swing like small moons. The yard empties until only the hum remains. He walks to the sign, the new one raised where the old letters were torn down. Common, simple, clean. The bolts still shine fresh. He touches the edge of the sea with his scarred palm, feels the cool iron against raw flesh. Mara watches. They'll come again, you know. Not the sheriff, not the heir, but someone else. Hungry men always come. I know. he says. Think you can fight them all? No. He looks at her finally. But we can. She studies him, then nods. Then let's make sure the books stay honest. Honest is harder than fire. He almost smiles. Then you keep the books. I'll keep the gates. A long pause. She looks at his hand pressed against the iron letter. Does it hurt? Always. Then why keep pressing it? So it remembers me, he says. Mara shakes her head, but her eyes soften. You're stubborn. Needed to be, he says. Otherwise I'd still be standing outside this gate. The night deepens. Stars blink through thin clouds. Pale sky stretches above, washed by ash and storm. He looks up once, breathing steady. Mara shifts the ledger in her arms. Go home. You've stood long enough. He glances at the last lamp burning over the yard. He walks to it, reaches up, and turns the switch. The hum drops softer, folding into silence. He stands alone in the yard where he once lost his badge, where dust tasted like shame. Now it tastes like air, open and plain. He takes one last look at the sign. One word, common. It belongs to everyone. He turns, coat swinging, and walks down the road under the pale sky. The silence follows, not empty, but alive. The yard is different now. Number, guards at the gate. No truck idling with dark windows. No foreman with a grin that cuts. The air hums steady with machines that sound like work, not chains. Ash settles into mud. Night folds in clean with only lamp glow along the walls. He stands where the gate used to bite, where hands once slammed his chest and ripped his badge. His coat feels heavier, not from money, but from what nearly broke him. He listens to the hum, then the quiet between. Power never allowed such silence. He lets it steady his ribs. Workers filter out in 2s and 3s. They don't look down. They talk, laugh, argue low. Some carry deeds in their coats. Others carry nothing but loose shoulders and a home to walk toward. Children race puddles and count the steps between shadow and light. Mara comes from the office with a ledger under her arm. She stops beside him, eyes on the new sign, then on him. You bought the name. He shakes his head. We bought it, back, and the cost. We pay it together. She studies his burned palm. They'll test you again. They'll test us. She nods. Good answer. They watch the last crew lock the tool cage. No single belt holds keys. Everyone carries a copy. A woman checks the first aid shelf, counts bandages, closes it without flinching. The night keeps steady. He looks up at the new letters. Common bolts catch the lamplight. He lifts his palm to the iron. The chill bites scar into truth. Mara says, You keep touching it, like it might run. It ran us for years, he answers. I'm teaching it to stay. A boy who once hid behind a guard's leg drifts close. Hat too big. Sir, he crouches. Yeah. Will there be whistles at night? Only if something's wrong. The boy glances at the lamps. Then, maybe I can sleep. You can, he says. The boy nods and trots after his mother. Mara watches them go. You told that child the truth. I'm trying to tell all of them the truth. Truth needs numbers that match, she says. I'll keep them matching. You always did. I cheated once. You fed children. That, too. A wind lifts ash into small ghosts. The sheriff's boots, the heir's coat, the old road flicker and fade. One went to ground, one to smoke. The road took the rest. The last crew waves and leaves, their voices thin to quiet. A stray dog noses the fence and settles by warm brick. Lamps tick as metal cools. Mara opens the ledger and reads in her dry way. Hours clean, overtime paid, boots in stock, harness checks done, fuel bought with receipts, fines none. She shuts it. Almost boring. Good, he says. Boring keeps people alive. She eyes him. You look older tonight. I feel honest tonight. That is older. He laughs once, soft. He remembers the ripped badge, the cards, the glass office, the stolen pen, the storm, the heat of belts, a word he almost said to a child he could not save. He breathes, and lets it pass through. Mara tilts her head at the sign. Say it again. What? What we are. Common, he says. Let it sink. She says, 2 teens from the saw floor. Hover. Boss. One asks, not boss. He says, say my name. They try it. Careful. He nods. What do you need? A radio for night watch. Storms cut the feed. Take one from the shelf, he says. Write it down. If it breaks, tell us. We fix it. They grin and vanish. Mara smiles. They didn't ask if they were allowed to ask. Keep it that way. Fog lingers low, where sprinklers cooled ash. The road beyond the gate looks straight for once. He thinks of his mother at the well. The note that turned chains into leverage. The folder he burned until ash flew like winter birds. Part of it keeps his spine stiff. He does not hate that. Go home, Mara says. Soon. You haven't gone home in years. I will tonight. Take bread to the boy on the corner. I will. Take a coat to his mother. I will. Take sleep for yourself. I'll try. She tucks the ledger under her arm. I'm turning lights. I'll take the last one. They cross the yard slow, toes dragging lines in damp ash. The dog trails and lies down again. He flips one switch. A pool of light goes dark and shows more sky. Mara flips 2 more. The lot dims until only one lamp burns near the sign. She stops in that glow. You bought the name. He answers as before. Words worn smooth. We bought it back. And the cost. We pay it together. I can live with that, she says. They listen to the soft hum of machines doing what they should cut. Lift, carry, stop when told. No alarms, no sirens, no fists on doors. A distant owl calls once and quits. He looks at the rebuilt office. Clean paint over scorched boards. A paper sits under a rock. A schedule with names spread fair. The brand that once hung on a nail lies, buried under concrete. He knows where. He won't say. They'll tell a story about tonight, Mara says. What story? That nothing happened. Good story, he says. Learn to like boring. I do. I earned it. She tugs his sleeve. Turn the last light. He walks to the pole and reaches up. He stops. The boy from the gate has come back without a sound. He stands under the sign, face tilted, hands in his pockets like he is holding a dare. You lost? He asks. The boy shakes his head. Just wanted to see the word up close. Read it. Common, the boy says. Careful. Whose? Is it ours? Good night, he says. Good night, the boy answers, running toward a road that is finally only a road. Now? Mara calls from the dark. Now. He flips the switch. The yard drops into a clean, living dark. The machines hum low, like a town breathing in sleep. He can hear his own feet. He can hear Mara's quick laugh. He can hear nothing else that hurts. They walk to the gate together. He stops once more beneath the sign and presses his palm to the sea. The scar stings. He lets it. He wants it to remember. He wants himself to remember. Mara says, softer. You bought the name. He answers, we bought it back. And the cost. We pay it together. She nods. Lock up. Go home. He turns the chain. Not tight. Just enough. He looks one more time at the word that belongs to everyone. He breathes and feels the night accept him. He turns under the pale sky and walks home. Shadow easy. Work still his. Fear left at the fence. He turns, cuts the switch on the office porch, watches the glow die, and lets the dark hold the yard. The sign hangs against the sky. One word for all of them. Steady as breath. The camera lingers on the darkened yard, the new sign glowing faint against the pale sky. Common. The hum of machines fades into silence, steady and alive. Footsteps echo down the road, coat swaying, scarred hand at his side. Mara's words still hang in the air, but his own carry further. We pay it together. He turns the last corner, swallowed by the quiet. The mill remains behind, not owned, not changed, just theirs.